Hello everybody and welcome to the FPL Rondo YouTube channel. This is my first video on FPL related content, so it might be a bit of a learning curve, might take a few videos to get into it, but we'll definitely give it our best go. Just for a bit of background, I'm not an expert. I have a mindset that's a mix between casual and competitive. I like to follow the template, but I also like to throw in the occasional puns. So we'll definitely give it our best go throughout the season and see how high of a rank we can get overall this season. In previous seasons, I've been playing for 2 years now, competitively anyway, like trying at the game. My first season, I managed a rank of 210,000, and then in the previous season that's just passed, I managed a 23-ish thousand rank in the world, so top 24k was quite a good rank for me, so I was quite pleased with that, and hopefully on this season, we can keep that going and get better again this for the third time in a row. So yeah, this is a fresh account, new FPL Rondo FPL account, so there's no previous stats, so we're just going to start fresh from here and hopefully see what we can provide for you guys on the internet today. So what we're going to do now is go over my first draft for the 2023-2024 season that I've actually showed online anyway, see what my thoughts are, what my potential transfers and switch ups are in the team, strong points, weak points, and then we'll take it from there and hopefully pick the best possible team going into the start of the season at the end of next week. So yeah, let's just get right into this. So this is my team as of now for the season. Obviously this could change, but I'm running the 3-5-2 formation. I know a lot of people are running 3-4-3 online. That does seem to be the preferred formation, as we have seen great form from strikers like Darwin Núñez, Christopher Nkunku. They have been top performers alongside obviously there is Haaland, you can't ignore Haaland, and Nicholas Jackson, who has had a fantastic preseason. He is a bit of a punt on my team just because his minutes aren't guaranteed, and Chelsea could very well bring in another striker, and even if they don't, they potentially have Lukaku staying at the team. He could very well take some minutes off of Jackson here, so although he will be the most up forward player on the team, it could very well change to Nkunku, depending on my mindset going towards the start of the season. Pretty standard names across the board, though. We have Onana in goal, 5.5 mil cheaper than Luke Shaw, frees up a bit of money to basically invest into the outfield positions, which I do believe are more valuable. John Stones is a bit of a risk for me personally. I had really bad luck with Man City assets last season. Any midfielder that I'd picked just did not play. So going to John Stones is a bit of a risk, bearing in mind he is prime rotation risk for Pep Roulette. He has been playing in midfield a bit recently, so that does give me a bit of hope that he can change up positions and play in different areas if required, so that might improve his minutes. But yeah, I mean, it's still high risk, but obviously there is the hope of high reward as well. I've gone for a very stacked midfield, but no Mo Salah, although in previous years I have favoured Salah over anyone basically. He's always been the first person in the draft, but with Haaland now being that main talisman of FPL in general, I have sort of opted out of Salah for a more open, wide midfield full of just big names. Like you've got Martinelli, Saka, Rashford, Fernandes, and even Solly March. Bit of a punt indeed, because obviously a lot of people do prefer Mitoma over him, but after watching March last season, I do prefer him, and I do believe that he has the chance to outperform and outpoint score Mitoma in most games, because the minutes are pretty even. It is just down to personal preference, I believe, and I just do like a bit of a punt, and I do prefer Solly March as a player very slightly, so that's why I've gone for him, despite, I believe it's 3% ownership. Yeah, there you go, 3%, so that is a bit of a risk, but I am willing to take that going into the start of the season. For now anyway, it could very well change. It's the same with Jackson. His minutes might be a bit more questionable than Nkunku, so I could very well swap him out as well, but I'll go into potential transfers shortly. I've got a decent bench, I would like to think. I've got Ben Chilwell. He very well may be in the starting lineup come the start of the season, because I do know Chelsea and Liverpool have a very, very long history of nil-nils in the last few seasons anyway. They do tend to keep a lot of clean sheets against each other. And then we've got Kabore, the Luton defender who's recently signed for them. He should be playing wing back and should be a nailed defender for the price he is, which was let me just check here. Yeah, he's a 4 million defender, so he's just cheap and cheerful. Keep him on the bench, and if he does need to come off the bench as a substitute throughout the season, he should give me at least 1 or 2 points per game, which is fantastic for a bench option of 4 million in defence, so you can't complain there either. Cameron Archer, just a bit of a bench warmer. Don't expect him to play many games, but we will see. I could be completely wrong, but Aston Villa, they are a team to watch next season anyway, and I do believe their fixtures are fantastic going into the start of the season. Yeah, look at this. So apart from Newcastle and Liverpool, you do, and even Chelsea arguably, because I think they are going to have a great start to the season, the rest of the games, even Newcastle, you can score a few past. It should be like this block here, absolutely fantastic. They should be getting some great points there, so I am definitely going to consider some Aston Villa assets potentially after the first few weeks if they are showing some good form there. So this is some transfers and some formation changes that I am considering here. The one you see in front of you is the 3-4-3 that I was on about, which is probably, if I wasn't going to go 3-5-2, which I still am preferring, this is the one that I would end up switching over to. It would involve getting rid of John Stones down to Bayer, the Burnley defender, at 4 million. He would just be a bench sitter and free up funds for different positions in the team. Bruno Fernandes would get downgraded to Eze. Again, I'm not too sad about that, just because Eze has had a fantastic pre-season. He's a very attacking player, and with Wilfried Zaha out of that team, he could very well become the talisman, a big penalty taker, and could be a fantastic goal scorer for them this season. And I do think there's a lot of potential and a lot of points to be made from Eze this season, as long as he puts his performances in like pre-season. Darwin Núñez for Cameron Archer of Aston Villa. I do believe Darwin is a bit of a minutes risk and very well could be the biggest troll of the season, just like he was last season. I could be willing to make the switch. He has had a fantastic pre-season as well, and I do believe that if he does get a nailed position in that team, obviously there is that issue with Liverpool, that Diogo Jota, you've got Luis Diaz, obviously you've got Mo Salah as well, all fighting for the same positions as Núñez, and there's plenty of other names on the sidelines as well which could come into there as well. I'm not convinced by his minutes, but if he does get off to a good start, like he has in the pre-season, he could become nailed and get those 90 minutes. But there is always the risk of the substitution at 60, which could very well affect his performance and points. So I'm not fully convinced, but he is a fantastic option, I do believe, based off of his pre-season performance. Christopher Nkunku, it's a difficult one because Jackson is the more advanced player and does play in that more of a striker role. Nkunku would sit deeper, but he would be the penalty taker from what I've heard online so far, and he is more guaranteed minutes than Jackson from what we've seen as well. He is just a better option if you do want just guaranteed minutes. He does seem like the player to go to, and at 7.5 million for both of those strikers, I mean, you can't go wrong. It's just going to be a case of whether Darwin does get the minutes or not, but we'll have to see down the line. So that's my 3-4-3 formation that I've been considering, and then we'll get into the other one now. So the last transfers I want to show you would keep me in the 3-5-2 formation, and I do think this is slightly weaker than my current draft, but it is one that I am keeping my mind open to, just as it does give me options. It would drop Martinelli down to Phil Foden to save up that 0.5 million, which would give me the option to increase and upgrade Nicholas Jackson to Christopher Nkunku. It's just a Chelsea for Chelsea swap there, but I do think, as I mentioned in the previous part in regards to transfers, Nkunku is probably going to get more minutes. He probably is likely to be the penalty taker for Chelsea, which would increase points, especially being on the pitch for longer periods of time just increases that goal threat straight away, and being in those different positions could create a bit of volatility, which we all like to see. Phil Foden, I'm never convinced by Manchester City players, especially in midfield, just because they are such a rotation risk. But with Mahrez, I do think that there is a bit more wiggle room for Foden to fit into that starting 11 for Manchester City. We will just have to see. I do believe he's had a good pre-season, but again, I haven't been able to check too much on the teams directly, just because I do have a job alongside content creation, which I've been working on recently as well, so I've not had too much time to specifically watch teams and work out who's doing well and what. But yeah, I think Phil Foden is having a great pre-season, and assuming he does fit into that starting 11 for Manchester City, could be a fantastic option for a lot of explosiveness and a lot of points in a single game. He has that potential. We've seen it a lot of times in the past where he's just come onto the pitch, or he's played the full 90 minutes and just got ridiculous points. So he could be a very good option. I do believe he has got quite high ownership. Yeah, well, I mean, it's 14% to be fair, so he might be getting a bit overlooked there. But no, I think this is a good option, but I don't think it's as good as my main draft, but we'll have to see. Yeah, come game week 1 deadline. So that's going to conclude my video for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have enjoyed it, be sure to click that subscribe button. It would help me out drastically, especially going into the start of the season. If you do want to keep updated, just hit that subscribe button. It would be very much appreciated. I do have a league. I've created that, so if you do want to join that, there will be a link below, and there should be a graphic on the screen at some point in this video, as I mentioned at the start. So if you do want to join that, feel free to just click that join button and put that code in if you do want to. But for now, that's going to be it from me. Hope you've enjoyed, and see you in the next video.